High School Orchestra program. This week we've got, once again, 2 assignments. One's due Tuesday, one's due Friday. It would make a lot of sense to get the Tuesday one done so I can give you some feedback, tell you if you're on the right track or if things are all confusing. Because without Tuesday in place, Friday's going to be just much more complicated. So here we have it, graded week 5, the 2 big issues here. What makes a major scale major? And then the connected topic, thirds, fifths, triads, and chords. So there you are. Next up, let's see. So before we get into talking about what makes a major scale major, we need to define a few terms. Some of these you already know. Some of them I just want to make sure that everybody's crystal clear on them. So the tonic is the central tone of the key. The central, that's the key, the note that the whole thing revolves around. And in this case, you could say it's the point of departure that all their tones move from, and it's the goal they're all aiming for. I've been using the term like the root note, perhaps mildly inaccurately, somewhat flippantly. But in the past, when I've said root note, I probably should have said tonic, and tonic is the term to use. It's the fundamental tone of the key. If you're in G major, then G is the tonic. If you're in F natural major, then F is the tonic. If you're in B flat minor, then B flat is the tonic. You get the idea. So scale. We've been playing scales forever, and everybody pretty much knows what one is. But just to make sure, all the notes in a key played in consecutive order, starting and stopping on the tonic. So if you're in the key of G major, then obviously G is the tonic, and your scale would go G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. There's your scale. Repeat the top note, G to G, but ultimately the note is the scale is like 7 notes plus the octave on top. So having announced what a scale is, you need to look at the scale degree. Now, the scale degree is a term that I've been using in some comments when I've been giving feedback to people, and I'm not sure everybody knows what I'm talking about. So, scale degree, what number the note is in the scale. The 5th scale degree is note number 5, C, D, E, F, G. In C major, it's G. In C major, the 4th scale degree, C, D, E, F. The 7th scale degree, C, D, E, F, G, A. What am I saying? Yeah, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. Sorry, I confused something about G major there for a second. So yeah, the 7th scale degree is simply like one note back from C, so B. And when you're writing this down, if there was a marker board in front of me, you'd write down the scale degree and put a little tent over the top of it, a little caret over the top of it, a little jobber like this. With the my slides presentation, I haven't found an easy way of making this happen terribly often, so I'm drawing it here so that when you write stuff down, you'll see what I'm talking about in the future. And moving on. Now we've got these terms taken care of. I want to talk about the intervals in the major mode scale. Now, we know what an interval is. It's the space between 2 notes, either the harmonic interval, the space, the vertical space, or a horizontal space. Right now, we're just looking at horizontal space because it's laid out this way. Intervals are made up of a collection of whole steps and half steps. Major scale is made up of a collection of whole steps and half steps in order. Now, at this point, before we lay down this little graph that shows where the whole steps and half steps are, we probably should also talk about the piano keyboard. It's the easiest place to get a visual of where the whole steps and half steps are. But for a major mode key, you've got the first note would be right here, second note would be here, third note would be here, fourth note would be here, 5th note, 6th note, 7th note, and then a half step to the octave once again. This bracket is not a down bow marking. This little jobber is not the same caret that I was talking about being on top of the scale degree. This is a much bigger tent. It's to indicate this is where the half step is. This is wide, this is the whole step. So, at this point, let us briefly zip over to note flight. If you need to pause while you log into note flight, please do so. All right. I'm assuming everybody's got note flight open now. Go to create. Create a whole new one. I'm fine with that. So here we go. In creating a new one, start with a blank score sheet. It gives you this automatic piano sort of thing. We don't want piano. We go to parts. We're going to add a part. And once again, it's time for violas. Here we go. Bowed strings, violas. Back to you guys. Okay. Piano. Trash the piano. Nothing personal, but we're just not into pianos right now. All right. Now, I want you to do this. Give me 12 measures of 4/4. The add measure button is right here in the measure bay. We've already got 4. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. For the time being, leave key signature, no sharps, no flats. It's not, I'm not going to say it's C major because we're just leaving it blank for the time being. We're going to establish a key signature later on, but not right now. All right. So here's the deal. Let's give it the title, Scales and Chords. And again, you put your name there. Now, this is just to establish things for future on down the line. Right now, I want you to look at the keyboard. So get your mouse up here to the top of the page. Click the keyboard button. Ta-da! We see a keyboard down here. Now, like I said, this is the easiest way to see where the whole steps and half steps are. Handily enough, they've got C labeled. C4, C5, you know, how many octaves up or how many octaves down. So from this C to D is a whole step because there's this black key in between that indicates there's a half step from C to C sharp, from C sharp to D, or depending on the direction you're going, from D down to D flat to C. From here to here, half step, here to here, half step, here to here, whole step. All the white keys, if there are no keys, if there's no sharps or flats in the key signature, all the white keys naturally lay out like this. Here to here, whole step, half, whole, whole, whole. No black key, half, whole, whole, half, whole, whole, whole. No black key, half. You get the idea. So like I said, you can really see the layout pretty easily here. We're going to go back over here to this. So whole, whole, just a half, whole, 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 half. There are only two places in the world of music when there's no sharps and flats, only two places where the half step naturally occurs. And that's between B and C right here. That's between E and F. Once again, B and C, E and F. Same deal here. This is the note B, this is the note C, this is the note E, this is the note F. So B, C, E, F. Okay, so B, C is our half step. E, F is our half step. If these brackets are going to indicate where the relationship is between notes, then let's see what we got here. Now we know there's a half step between E and F. So does this make sense right here? Let's see what we got. From F to G, whole step. All right, yep. G to A, whole step. Good so far. A to B. Is A to B a half step? No, it is not. If B were a B flat, this would be a half step, right? But A to B is a wide space. Open A to regular finger, first finger B, yeah. Or if you're on the G string, first finger to a high 2 if you play a chin instrument, or a 3 if you're a cellist, or fourth finger if you're a bassist. So this is definitely, this is wrong. A to B is not a half step, so this is not the layout. Where else can we place these? Where else can we go? Is there a half step between D and E? No. A and B? No, there's definitely not. All right, where are those half steps again? Between E and F and B and C. So let's drop this down right here. E and F. Why? It's the same as the piano keyboard. C to D, whole step. D to E, whole step. E to F, only the half step. F to G, whole step. G to A, whole step. A to B, whole step. B to C, there's that little half step right there. Going into the leading tone of B, right back to C. He wants very badly to go to C. All right, and that applies no matter how high or how low you go. I mean, if I'm way, well, we don't have the letters over here, so if I'm way higher or way lower, it's still the same deal. Whole step, just a half. Whole, whole, whole from B to C, just a half. There you are. Now, here's the concern. If you add one accidental to your key signature, a sharp or a flat, or 2 or 3 sharps, or 2 or 3 flats, whatever the case may be, it will change where those half steps are occurring, right? I mean, suppose we just drop this right down here. And you said, hey, we're still in C major. Well, no, we are not. C to D, whole step. D to E, whole step. From E to F sharp, that's not a half step. F sharp, this is now a higher note than this was. E to F sharp is the whole step, and F sharp to G is not, that's not right. This is now just a half step. Here's where the half step occurs, and here's where the whole step occurs. This is inaccurate, this is inaccurate. We have to figure out a new place to lay this down. Well, let's see, we just talked about, let's see, F sharp to G is a half step. So does this work? Let's see, D to E, whole step. Okay, good so far. E to F sharp, whole step. F sharp to G, half, right? G to A, yes. A to B, whole step, yes. B to C, no, that's not a whole step. That's only a half step. This is still not right. Where else can we lay this thing down? Where else can we lay this thing down? Well, all right, we said BC was a half step. Let's see if this makes sense. G to A, whole step. A to B, whole step. B to C, naturally occurring half step, right? C to D, whole step, yes. D to E, whole step. E to F sharp, first finger to high 2 on the D string if you play violin or viola. First finger to third finger if you play cello. First finger to fourth if you're on bass on the D string. And F sharp to G, here's your half step. Here we are, we have our major scale. 1 sharp, G major. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So far, so good. Now, suppose we have flats. It's the same thing. We have to look for the whole steps and half steps occur. And maybe it helps look at the piano. So, all right, D. We no longer have E, we have E flat. Let's back here. We've got E flats, we have B flats. E flat, B flat, E flat. All right, no other flats, just E flat and B flat. So this E is now E flat right here, and this B is now B flat. So this black key, not this, but this, not this, but this. So whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half, whole. We've jerked things around, and suddenly the half steps aren't occurring where they used to. Doesn't line up anymore. So where is this going to make sense? Obviously, G doesn't make sense. G to A, whole step, sure. A to B flat. This got lowered. The half step is between A and B flat. It's not between B and C. It's not between F sharp and G. There is no F sharp. All right, so if A to B flat is a half step, well, let's line it up here. Well, let's see. Does this work at all? Let's find out. F to G, that's a whole step. G to A, that's a whole step. A to B flat, that's a half step. Sure, sure, sure. B flat to C, that's a whole step. That's a wide space there, right? Low 1 for the B flat on the A string, and there's your C. Yeah, that's a whole step. C to D, whole step. Wait a sec, D to E flat. That's not a whole step. That's a half step. This is still not accurate. All right, so this is not the location. We're not in F major because it doesn't line up. It doesn't match the pattern that we know is the major mode pattern. Now let's do this. We just said that D to E flat was the half step, right? So let's line this half step symbol up with this. See if this interval will make more sense. So B flat to C, the lowered B to C. Yeah, that's a whole step. C to D, whole step. D to E flat, there's your half step. E flat to F, that's, you know, if you're on the D string, low 1, low 2, violins and violas, low 1 and 3, cello, or low 1 or maybe extended second finger, who knows. Bassists on the D string, it's a shift back for the first finger, and you probably lay on a fourth finger if you're in half position for the F, whole step. F to G, whole step. G to A, whole step. A to B flat, it's a lowered B flat. A to B flat, half step, bam. This is our key signature, and we've got it. So there you have it. This is the deal. Let's get that out of the way. So, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. I can just sort of spell it out, you know? This could be anything. I could have gone with like F, and if we wanted to have an F major scale, we have to think in terms of like, well, after the next note, G has to be a whole step. G to the next note has to be a whole step. A to the next note has to be a half step, so it can't be B, it's got to be B flat. Actually, let's do this. Suppose we went with F, all right? Here's an F. F, whole step, half, whole, 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 half. Only one flat right there, B flat. Bam. All right. So here's what I want you to do. This is Let's Do Tuesday. This is the overview. Those of you who can read this and figure it out and do it based on this, wonderful. You can now hit pause and zip forward to the Friday part of the assignment. If watching the entire video is not your cup of tea, if you've got this down, well, bully for you. Some folks need to be watching the whole thing, and I am going to film the whole thing. But some folks are like, oh my God, can I scroll forward? Remain calm. Here's what we got. So I want one instrument, 4/4 time, no sharps or flats in the key signature yet. This we have already done. Let's remove this keyboard. Nothing but blank measures. Yay. All right. I'm looking for a half note ascending scale, and I want you to choose for your tonic, like the first note of the scale, right? What I used to call the root note all the time. Your tonic should not be an open string, or if you are a violinist or a bassist, I don't want you to choose C either. All right? Start on a note that is not an open string or C. Okay. Like suppose let's do this. I'm gonna go with E. So that's very, very quiet. Let's bring that up. Volume, 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 volume. Let's see. And all right. For those of you that do not play viola, trust me, this is the note E. Right here would be the open string G. So this is like a high 2 on the C string. Looks like a D for violinists. Sorry, this is way down on the C string. So there it is. Now, back to the instructions. I'm looking for half notes. Tonic should not be an open string or a C. So I already chose as my opening note E, but it's not a half note. As you will recall, it is the bracket symbol. That's 2 over from the letter P. Bracket symbol to the right lengthens your note. Now there's E. Now let's go with the next one. I'm going to just type letters, all right? F, G. All right, so I'm just... All right, so this leads me from E to E, and I have done nothing in terms of adding any sharps, flats, accidentals, or anything. Matter of fact, ooh, I have an idea. What if I made my first note E flat? Wah, 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 wah. Flat symbol. Now there are 2 ways of making this an E flat. You can go with this. Ta-da, there's your flat. Or you could simply hit the negative space. Here, let me hit undo, undo. The negative key, the minus symbol on your actual keyboard. All right, so there's E flat. Now, the next instruction, note by note, add the next tone to the scale, keeping in mind whole steps and half steps. If a note needs adjusting to make the right interval, add an accidental. Minus for flat, plus for sharp. So oh no, I've been a bad student and I'm the teacher. This is not good. Select, and select, delete. Okay, E flat. Now, if I want a whole step from E flat, I'm going to bring the keyboard back on. Why not? So, if I have an E flat, there's a D, right? So here's E flat. The first step I want to make is going to be a whole step. Remember, it's whole step, half, whole, 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 half. So from E flat, a whole step up gets me F. So I'm just going to type the letter F. Oh, there's your F, right? I'll go down here, right? And we can move this keyboard a little bit. There we go, make it more central. Okay, so E flat to F. Now, I want a whole step. First note to second note, whole step. Second note to third note, whole step. Whole step from F to G. Good deal. Now, so here's whole step, whole step. Next up is a half to the 4th scale degree. And so, let's see, there's an E flat, there's an F, there's a G. I'm going to type the letter A, but that is from G to A, that is a whole step. I want this to only be a half step. This is where I hit the either here or the minus sign. And suddenly, ta-da, there I am, right? So E flat, F, G, there's the half step to the A flat. Next up, I want a whole step. Whoa, but that was too huge of a leap. I went from here all the way to here. That's like a minor third. Or technically, we like to call this an augmented second. But that's just fancy talk for a later day. Right now, the problem is that when I go from this flatted note to this natural note, it's far too huge. So we went from here to here, whole step, just a half, just a whole. So if I'm going to go from this note to this note, there's our whole step, right? Half step apart, whole step apart. I need to make this bright red B into a B flat. And I can either click this or I can hit the minus bar. There we go. So now, let's review. Root note, or excuse me, tonic note, whole step, just the half, whole step. All right, now from here, I want another whole step, and that means the next note should be the note C. And if I type the letter C, because the cursor is on this side of the note, it's going to change this to a C. I don't want that. So I arrow forward a bit. Now I type C. Yay. And this is middle C, by the way. For those of you that are not violists, this is middle C, center of the whole darn staff. This is one ledger line above if you're on bass clef. This is one ledger line below if you're a violin. All right, so now from here, I want another whole step, right? First note, whole step, half, whole. So a whole step up from the note C. Well, that one's easy enough. Cursor's over here, so I can just type letter D. All right, and then last up, let's quick review. E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C, D. And the next note, oh God, that does not sound right. Because why? Because we have not made it flat. This should be a flat. We started with E flat. We should end with E flat. I'm going to click this right here. And that's going to sound better. So listen. There's our scale. Now, okay. Those of you that tuned out, you can tune back in. Here's the scoop. I need you guys to, let's do this. All right. At the end, you've done all four measures. At the end, I need you to count up your accidentals. Don't count the octave twice if you started with an adjusted note. The number of accidentals will give you your key signature. So here's the deal. E flat, there's one accidental. B, E flat. F, G, A flat, that's a second one. B flat, that's a third one. C, D, E flat, don't count it. We already counted it back here. We have 1, 2, 3, E flat, same, just different octaves, big deal. 3 flats. So in my case, I have 3 flats. Counted up my accidentals, I got the number of accidentals. I must now select these 4 measures, in other words, make them pink. And so select that, the shift, I hold the shift button down on my typing keyboard, click, all 4 measures are highlighted. And now what we're supposed to do, once we've made them pink, we select the change key signature icon, which is up here in one of these bays. Remember all these bays? So we're at measures. Add a measure? No. Subtracting a measure? No. Change time signature? Nah. Change key signature? Ooh, look at all the little sharps in there. That's definitely the change key sig icon. Click this. All right. 3 flats, 3 flats, 3 flats, 3 flats, 3 flats. Yeah, that's what it is. E flat major. Okay. Bam. And now you'll notice this. Note flight will automatically remove all the flats that you used to have as accidentals because they're not accidentals anymore. They are now unpurposefuls, if you will. Bam. Key signature says every single B flat, every single E flat, every single A flat will be right there automatically. And there you got it. Yay. All right, so the number of flats verifies right there. Good deal. So, highlight the first note, click letter T to add text, label the key signature. Okay, so now, click someplace else to make all the pink go away. Click just this. Now, letter T on my keyboard. E flat major. I'm going to click out of that box. Click it there. Let's move this over so it's readable. I'm going to point out one last thing. Let's double click this. You may occasionally see E lowercase b, and you'll say, what is this, ebb major? What's going on here? No, this is because the lowercase b is functionally equivalent for a lot of folks as the flat symbol. I mean, if we were in E sharp major, which is a horrific key signature, there's like double sharps, you don't even want that. The sharp symbol, hashtag symbol, the number symbol, the pound symbol, whatever you call it, right? And this is the best equivalent we have in just keyboard typewriter symbols. but I'm going to say, type the word flat, call it good. E flat major. There you are. You may do a different key signature. In fact, I recommend you do not do E flat major, as I already used this as the example. Okay, moving on. So this much, double bar at measure 5. Ooh, one last thing. Double bar. Oh, I already did that for you. That's nice. I did not realize that. So change of key sig. From this point on, remember we only highlight these 4 measures. These 4 measures are in E flat major. Everything else is still back in C. So here, natural, 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 to just let you know that we are not in the same key signature anymore. We're back to no sharps, no flats. Bam. Double bar has been made for you. Lovely. Do Tuesday. So at this point, you do a screen grab or whatever it is you have to do. And just all I really need to do is to see, there we go, is to see this much. Really, only this much, I suppose. That'd be fine. And there's that screen grab sound. You can see there, I got this thing on my way. Now, a number of folks have been doing some sort of thing where they paste the thing that they captured into a Google Doc, and I'm fine with that. But I'm going to ask you this. If you can select landscape mode, that way it will not be something like narrow on a tall, skinny document. It'll be something wide on a wide document. And I can zoom in and actually read the thing without having to squint so much. If you please do that, that'd be wonderful. So there you are. That's due Tuesday. So now, intermission. This is between the Tuesday part and the Friday part. If you have finished Tuesday, wunderbar. If you want to keep going, keep going. But I'm leaving this up for a few seconds so that when we scroll through on the video, you can obviously see, oh, this is the spot where Friday starts. Got it. I'll just click right here. All right. That was enough of an intermission. Maybe you hit pause, got yourself some popcorn, got yourself a root beer. Maybe you've got one last cranberry Sprite kicking around from Christmas time. Who knows? Anyhow, moving on. Bam. The next bit, as listed here, thirds, fifths, triads, chords. Thirds, fifths, triads, chords. So first up, terminology. Interval. We know what an interval is. That was last week. It's the measure of the space between notes. A melodic interval refers to the space between notes that are side by side between notes in a melody. La la, between those two notes if you're going la 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 la, or whatever the case may be. A harmonic interval is vertical. It's the interval between notes played at the same time, like a chord as played on a piano or a guitar, or double stops on a violin or violoncello, or even bass. Moving on. Specific intervals. A third, that's the interval covering 3-letter names. That's a note and the note that's 2 above it in the scale, right? 3 notes total. So basically, if you're talking about a third above C, you go C, D, E. 1, 2, 3. I've had some folks who have thought that it's like, you got the starting note and then you go 1, 2, 3, but that gives you a total of actually 4 notes. So we're talking about 3-letter names, all right? A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. F, G, A, 1, 2, 3. D, E, F, 1, 2, 3. G, A, B, 1, 2, 3. You get the idea. All right, so a fifth, same basic deal, but it's the interval covering 5-letter names. So a note and the note that's 4 above it. So A, B, C, D, E, or maybe it's, E, F, G, A, B, 5 notes total. Good so far? Okay, moving on. A chord is a group of 3 or more tones that make sense played at the same time. Now, this definition may seem sort of flippant. It makes sense. That's not terribly accurate. But I got it right from the textbook that I was issued in college, the Aldwell and Schachter, the deeply respected textbook. And if it's good enough for Aldwell and Schachter, it's good enough for me. So anyhow, yes, a group of 3 or more tones that make sense played at the same time. Often you'll find these notes that get that are often the notes. Hang on, excuse me a moment. Often the notes are stacked in thirds. Thank you oh so very much, Lee. Not restocked. Sounds like I'm working at Kroger or something. And if any of you are, I thank you for your hard work. Keep those masks on both your mouth and your nose. Anyhow, often these notes are stacked in thirds. for example, first scale degree, third scale degree, fifth scale degree, 1, 3, 5. Or maybe it's 2, 4, 6. All right, but it's a note and then a third above it and then a third above it. So that's what makes a chord, 3 or more notes. You can often find some chords, like for example, you have a chord that's made up of like the first scale degree, the third, the fifth, and the seventh. And that's a cool sound. That gets used a lot, and it's really quite fun. There's other ones as well, at any rate. So here's the deal. A triad is a specific type of chord. When the notes are stacked exactly in thirds, as described above, first, third, and fifth, or maybe it's second, fourth, and sixth, or maybe it's third, fifth, and seventh, when they're stacked in thirds, then they are a triad. And they have to be specifically in that order, right? A note, and then a third above it, and then a third above that. If they're in a different order, you know, if one of the two notes in a triad gets inverted, then it's not a triad anymore, but it's still a chord. And this is important because triad is a form of a chord, sort of like the line about, like, you know, all apples are fruit, but not all fruit are apples. So a triad is a form of chord. And no, not back to here yet. Not back to here yet. Sorry, my bad. Now that we've done the terms, so there's part 1 of what's due Friday and part 2 of what's due Friday. We're going to go over part 1 right now. So this has to do with measures 5 through 8. We're going to lay down a bunch of half notes. We're going to lay down some thirds. We're going to lay down some fifths. These are going to be basically a bunch of triads. Then we're going to label the triads with Roman numerals. Capital letter Roman numerals for major chords. Lowercase Roman numerals for minor chords. There's one chord that is neither major nor minor. It's something weird. That's where we're going to talk about these extra symbols. The plus symbol for an augmented chord and the little 0, like a degree symbol, if you will, for a diminished chord. And yes, we'll explain that in a moment. So all of them are either major or minor except for the 7, the diminished. And then put a double bar at the end of this, which is basically measure 9. And that is what's due Friday. So if just reading all this, you say, got it, check, can do, cool, fast forward to the next bit. But right now, those of you who are like, okay, that's the sketch, but walk me through this. Well, stick around. This is definitely, for most folks, the place where listening and watching is going to help immensely. So, all right, measures 5 through 8 after the bar. So right here, I'm looking for a plain old C major. Make life easy on us. Now, all right, C. Wait a second. I'm going to get rid of this keyboard. All right, so there's a C. But once again, hey, it is not, I don't want quarter notes. I want half notes. So there's that bracket, the right bracket. There we go. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Just typing away on the left-hand side of my keyboard. Okay, that's all I really want. For starters. Now, here's the thing. Now that I've laid down C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, what does it say to do next? Add thirds above each scale degree. Oakley doke. Here we go. So, we add a third above it. Move the mouse like so. Okay. And I can do the arrow over here. And there we go. I'm gonna... Oh, and there we go. Now, if I listen to this, let's give it a listen. Yeah, so far so good. All right. So what is next? Add fifths above each scale degree, which would be thirds above the thirds. Now this may be confusing for some folks. So when I say I mean fifths above the original note that you laid down, this is going to be a third above the third that I just mentioned right here. Okay? In other words, this highlighted note right here, that's middle C. I want a fifth above middle C. So there's that. Da, 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 da. That's a fifth above middle C. Now, this chord, if I hit play, let me hear what this chord sounds like by itself. Oh, that's a richer sound. So we've got do, mi, so, 3 notes played at the same time. Now we should pause and sort of say, Let's see, do I have that written here anywhere? No, I don't have it written here, but I should back up and point out this. Each of these chords. Oh, actually, let's wait till the labeling, and then we'll talk about this in a bit. So let's just add the fifth for starters. Okay, so right here. I have to point out that one of the nicknames for the triad is the snowman, because you've got like these boop boop boop, 3 hollow notes stacked on top of each other, exactly in line. So line, 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 space, 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 line, line, line. That's not going to change no matter what instrument you play. Violin, viola, cello, bass, piano, flugelhorn, bass, saxophone, whatever you play. If you've got 3 notes stacked like this, bip, 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 that's a triad. 1, 3, 5. Or in this case, 1, 3, 5. This is 2, 4, 6. It's 3, 5, 7. All right, you get the idea. This is like 4, 6, and 8, but you want to say 1, 4, 6, 1. Right, that's the 4 chord. Comes back around, and that is your root note of C once again, and on it goes. Now, each of these chords has a different quality to it. You can have a major chord, or you can have a minor chord. The same way you can have a major interval or a minor interval. All right, and because the fifths are for the most part just perfect fifths, you really can't say whether a chord is major or minor based on the fifth. A triad or a chord is going to be major or minor based on the note that occurs like in the middle of that triad. So first, third, fifth, the third. So here we have C, D, E, F, G. From C to E is a major third, so this is a major chord. From here, so you've got, there's D, F natural. Oh, no, my bad. Accuracy. So D, F natural, A. That played by itself. Oh, no, I don't want to hear the first. Oh, fine. It won't play just this chord by itself. I have to hear the D major chord by itself. So, okay, what can I do? I'm stuck. I can't play this chord for you by itself. But you can hear the difference between this chord. I wonder if I can pause. Oh, wait. I have an idea. That didn't quite work. Well, you get the idea, though. This is a minor chord. Because the space between here, the D, those of you that are not violists, this is a D, this is an F natural. Minor third, and the perfect fifth there. So that's going to be a minor. And on it goes. Now, so we're going to go through and label all these, but here's the deal with labeling. Select this. It says, all right, select the first note of the measure 5, T for text. All right, so labeled triads. Let's label, we'll do this by saying T, text, labeled triad. I wanted to capitalize that. Triads. All right. Call that good. I'm going to move that up a bit, get out of the way. And here's why I'm getting this out of the way, because I have another thing I want to label. So T for text again. This is a major chord. Now, each of these chords will get a Roman numeral, like I said. And if a chord is based on the first scale degree, it is the tonic. It is the basic tone. It's called a 1 chord. It is based on the first scale degree. If a chord is based on the second scale degree, it's called a 2 chord. You're sensing the pattern, I can tell. Chord that's based on the third note of the scale, that's a 3 chord. This is the 4 chord. This is the 5 chord. This is the 6 chord, 7th chord, 7 chord. And that's just the 1. That's the tonic again. It's off by an octave, but it's still just the tonic. So I want to label this a 1 chord. Now, to show that it's a major, this is the thing with Roman numerals. Major chords are indicated by capital letters. So shift, capital letter I. This is the 1 chord and it's major. I'm going to move this down below. So we are moving the labeling of the chord, capital Roman numeral 1, for a 1 chord. That gets put there. Now, this, as we just talked about, D, those of you that don't play viola, or from D, F natural to A. This is a minor chord. So we're talking about a 2 chord. Hit the letter T for text. Oh, thank you. And because the last text I messed with was moved down here, it assumes that I want another one moved down here as well. Yay, thank you, no flight. So I want the Roman numeral 2, but this is a minor. So I don't want capital I, capital I. I want lowercase I. And that tells us, oh, that's kind of a mess. There we go. And that tells us this is a 2 chord, and it's a minor 2 chord. All right. Now, this is the first chord of the measure. I'm going to hit play for a second. Oh, wait, that's right. Hang on. I had muted the darn thing. Here we go. Once again. This is a minor chord. Those of you that did not play viola, I'll tell you right now, this is an E going up to G. E to G is a minor third because E to F natural is a half step. F to G is the whole step. So half step, whole step. If this was, you know, G sharp, E to G sharp would be major third, but no. So this is another minor chord. All right, minor. So we're talking lowercase T. Lowercase what? Well, it's the third. It's built on the third scale degree of this key signature. So I. No crazy train jokes, please. So here we have this one. So now we are building off of the note F. Those of you that are not violists, F to A to C. So F natural to A. F natural to A is a major third. F to C, of course, is a perfect fifth. Big deal. So this is going to be a major chord. So we went from 1, 2, 3. So let's go with T, text. And we want capital letter I, V. Those of you not familiar with the world of Roman numerals, it goes like this. 1 is just 1, 2, 1, 1, 3, 1, 1, 1. The 4 is 1 before 5. 5 is represented by a V. 1 before 5 is IV, and that is how you say 4 in Roman numerals. Nowadays, about the only place where people really see Roman numerals are on the faces of old grandfather clocks, really expensive watches, and the Super Bowls. So if you're not familiar with Roman numerals, I get it. And they should put this in a card somewhere. I'll figure that out later. So anyhow, there it is. Major, and it's 4, and we have it. Next up, a chord built on the 5th scale degree. Let's hit play. That sounds like a major chord to me. And let's double check this. This is the note G. Those of you non-alto players, G up to B. G to B, that's a major third. B to D, that's a minor third. But more importantly, we go from G all the way to D. That's the perfect fifth. So this is going to be a major chord. So T for text, capital V, which indicates V for 5. It's the 5 chord, and capital letter V, therefore it's a major. So far, so good. All right. Next up. This is a minor triad, and we can double check that by looking. Here we have A up to the C. That's a minor third if it was A to C sharp. That would be a big fat major chord, but it is not C sharp. It is C natural. So A to C. A up to B, half step. B to C, whole step. So this, my dear ladies and gentlemen, is going to be a minor. So we're going with lowercase v and lowercase I. Once again, Roman numerals. V is 5, I is 1. If it's before it, it means 1 before 5. This is 5. This is 1 after 5. Here's the weird one. So you've got, I'll hear it by itself. This is the mystery chord. It is neither major nor minor. And here is why. So all of these, we've had like the first interval from the root note of the chord, you know, the note in the bottom of the triad to the third above it. It's either been a major or it's been a minor, minor, major, major, minor. And the interval from this note to this note has always been a perfect fifth, right? So from here to here is a major triad, a major third. From here to here is a minor third. Stacks up, gets us a perfect fifth. From here to here, a minor third. From this note to this note, major third. Stacks up, gives us a perfect fifth. Bam, right? in any of these triads, if the bottom note is a minor, the top, or if the bottom third is a minor, the top third is a major, balance each other out. Here we go. This third is major, this third is minor. From here, all right, G to B, major, B to D, minor third, stacks up for making a total of perfect fifth. And that applies to all these chords except right here, B. This is the note B, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you not violists, B up to D. B, C, D. So from our B, C sharp, B, C, D, we have from B to C half step, C to D whole step. That's a minor third. Then from D to F, D to E whole step, E to F half step. This is another minor third. So from here to here, minor third, here to here, minor third. From this note, from the B up to F, is not a perfect fifth. It's actually a half step shy of a perfect fifth. It's a little bit lower. This is that rare thing. It's not the perfect fifth. This is called a diminished fifth. It's not a minor fifth. We don't have minor fifths. Fifths are so often just this perfect interval that they don't get renamed for the one weird exception. The weird exception gets its own special name, diminished. So if you have this, then what you're going to do, it's sort of like, it's like extra minor, if you will. So T for text, VII, which is 7 in Roman numerals. And now we're going to add a little symbol. And that symbol is right there. It is the little 0, like degrees, like it's 27 degrees outside or something. VII with a little symbol there. You're saying, great, but how do I get that on my keyboard? Oh, wait. Right, undo. Here's how you get it on your keyboard. Option button, which is over on the bottom of your keyboard, or lower left most likely, or maybe it's over to the right. A couple of buttons over from your space bar. The option button and the 0. This even works on your cell phone. If you're trying to type in that it's like, 75 degrees outside, it's wonderful, come on outside, 7, 5, and then hold the 0 down for a moment, and above the little 0 key, whoop, it'll give you some options. Do you want to select one of these options? And one of them is the degree symbol, and that's what we did just now. Option and 0, and you get that. Yes, diminished. Now, maybe there's somebody out there who's thinking, well, wait a minute. Suppose you have a triad, where instead of it being like a minor third and then a minor third above that third, what if you had like a major third and then a major third above that? Wow, that's where the other symbol comes in. We don't have one of those here. Don't worry about it too much. But that plus symbol, that means augmented. That'd be an augmented triad, an augmented chord, if you will. We don't have those right here, and that's something I don't want to worry about right now. It exists, yes, but don't get too concerned. And then, leading from this chord, this weird diminished chord, we go back to C, E, G, and we have, once again, T for text, shift, capital I. It's the 1 chord. We're back. So now we will hear. Alrighty. And that gives us just about everything we want. Except one last thing. Be so very kind. Wait, stop that. There we go. Double bar. Done. Double bar at the end of this. All right. This is only the first part of what's due Friday. So moving on to the next bit that is due Friday. Here we are. First, the overview. All right, this is the last 4 measures. Chords, no triads. All right. This time I don't want half notes in the measures. I want 4 quarter notes in measure 9, 4 quarter notes in measure 10, 4 quarter notes in measure 11, and a whole note in measure 12. Each measure will get a different chord. Measure 9 will have 4 C chords. C, 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 C. Measure 10. 4 F chords. Bum, 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 bum. Measure 11, 4 G chords. Da, 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 da. Measure 12, 1 big fat C major chord. Boom. Done. I do not want triads. So measure 9, 4 C chords, no triads, use inversions, use octave leaps. Same 3 notes. The same 3 notes of the triad. C, up a third to E, up a third to G. But you're going to relocate them, move them all over the place. Measure 10, same basic idea. 4 F chords, but do not use triads. Now, this F chord is built on the 4th scale degree. So let us see the 4 chord right there. That's built in the 4th scale degree. And then four quarter notes of the 5 chord, and then we're going to end with the 1 chord. Now, what this means is it's starting right here. All right, so we want this measure is going to be 4 different versions of a 1 chord. All right, the tonic chord. So C. Well, that's awfully high. Let's just take that down an octave. So C. Now C, E, G. But I just said that I don't want anything to be. Oh, come on back. I don't want a triad. So what I'm going to do with this little red note highlighted, I'm going to go taking it down an octave. All right. Ta-da! It is still a C chord. We still have C, E, G. I just inverted one of these. All right. I took it down. An octave, and so now instead of it being a third above the tonic, it is a sixth below the tonic. But it's still a C chord. If I hit play, it'll sound like a lovely old C chord. Yeah. I mean, it's arranged differently. So you have. You know, it's shorter too, but and this is in the bass note instead of down here. But it's still a C chord. Now, same idea. In fact, we can change things around. What's this? Let's put the G in the bottom, and then oh, come on. Let's, and then arrow this back. There we go. Now, we've still got C's and E's and G's. It's still a C chord. They're still both C chords, just one of them is voiced differently than the other one, all right? Now let's keep moving things around. So right here, let's make that quarter note. Let's go with C. Let's say left arrow to get this back over here. If the cursor's on the wrong side of the note, then you're going to end up like adjusting this instead of this. Let's go with a fifth above. And then let's do this. Let's go with an E. Arrow back over here. Let's go with the crazy high E. Let's see. So A, C, D, E. All right. So now we hear they're all just C chords. And here's the thing. Some of you may be saying, yeah, but the voice leading is terrible. Look at that leap. That's ridiculous. I'm here to tell you we'll deal with all of that later. Right now, I just want to hear big fat C chord and then arrange it differently. No triads. With that thought in mind, let's go with C. Let's take it down an octave. Ooh, yeah. And let's put that. Oh, no, come on. E right there. And we could put the G. We can put the G right here if we want to. And now we have 4. All right. And it's not very exciting. It's not very fancy sounding. That's fine. This is an exercise. This is just to show you that you can move these things around and it's still the same chord. Next up, this measure. 4 F chords, no triads. Okay? So we're talking F chord. We're talking about F's, A's, F, G, A, B, C, right? So as a violist type, I know that this is an F. I'm going to throw another, it's F. Let's go with F. Let's make this an A. And then back down to F. Why not? Oh, let's take that down an octave. All right, it's F, G, A. Let's F, G, A, B, C. Let's throw that A up here. Let's see. Oh, no. Come on. All right. And so, F, A, C, for those of you not playing viola. All right. There's the F, there's the A, there's the C. There's the F, there's the A, there's the C. Here's an F, I'm going to go with an A right here and a C right here. So we've got some weird spacing going on here, and that's fine. All right. So we've got 4 C chords, 4 F chords. All right, you can hear the shape, right? And next up, what do we got? 4 G chords, no triads, and then 1 big C major chord. Okay, so now we're talking about the 5 chord, 5. So we're talking about G, A, B, C, D. So let's go with it. We can start with the G down there. Why not? Let's do another. So let's try G, B, G, D. Ooh, interesting. All right, so G, B, C, D. Let's throw it that. Let's get a B way up here. All right. And hang on. Throw it. Come on. There we go. All right, G, A, B, C, D, B, and let's try a D right here. Let's maybe let's go G right here. So here we have G, B, D. So this should be for the same dang chord. Let's hear. And then, last but not least, whole note. So C, right bracket, make it longer still. All right, C, D, E, F, G. I'm going to say, let's go with the G right here. And let's do the E there. So now what we have is 4 chords of C. So C, 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 C. The 4 chord F, 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 F. The G chord, the 5 chord. And 1 big fat C. And that is it. Play it. All right. I'm not going to be a threat to the publishing career of Richard Meyer or Soon He Newbold anytime soon, but you can definitely hear how this goes. So now, what to do? Select the first chord of measure 9, hit T for text, label it chords, no triads. Did I already do that? Nope, not yet. T. Chords, comma, no triads. Click out of the box. Let's move this up top again. That'll do. All right, Shazam, there you are. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to not do the exact same chords as these. Voice them differently, scoot them all over the place, do what you got to do. All right? But this is the plan. This is what you should have. You should have something that looks rather a lot like this. From here to here should look exact. From here to here, it's your own thing. Okay? There you are. Having said all that, I wish you the best of luck. Remember, part of this is Tuesday, part of this is Friday. We good? All right. Best of luck. Adios.